Hey folks, Jeff here at Back Country. Thanks for stopping by the channel today. If you've been watching my channel, then you know that I pretty much share what I'm doing. And a lot of times I'm fixing stuff. So why do I fix so much stuff? Well, it's just the country way for starters. We don't believe in throwing stuff away and wasting everything. If something breaks and you can fix it, why not fix it? In this disposable world we live in, we would save a lot of landfill space and just general junk everywhere if we'd fix more stuff and make it last longer. Of course, if the factories built stuff to last longer like they did in the old days, we'd be better off there too, but that's a different discussion. So what am I working on today? Well, today I'm working on an air compressor. Let me show you. So I got this old air compressor here. It's you know, probably made in China. I don't know. It's a real cheap Husky brand. I think they sell them at Walmart. I don't know, but it ain't nothing fancy. And so this generator belonged to a friend of mine, and it broke. And because it's such a cheap compressor, he just went out and bought a new one that was better. And I told him, oh man, I probably could have fixed that for you pretty easy. And so he just gave it to me. He was going to throw it away. He just gave it to me, mainly because I didn't have an air compressor up here at the property. So he figured, well, if you can fix it, take it to your property and you can use it up there. So of course I took it apart, and it was exactly what I thought was wrong with it. The capacitor. So this one, if I remember correctly, has a single capacitor on it that basically does the start and run function for the electric motor, and that had gone bad. So you know, I just looked at the specs on it, got online, went to a capacitor supplier, and I think for like 10 bucks I bought a new capacitor for it, put it in, and it started right up and ran. Then I went ahead and changed the oil in the compressor. It needed a air filter, so I put a new air filter on it. I put a new end on the plug, and it was good to go. I used it for a couple years, at least. Maybe longer than that. Actually, it's probably longer than that. Probably 4, maybe 5 years. I don't know. Anyway, one day when I needed air for something, it didn't work. It started up, it ran, it was making air, but I couldn't get any air through the hose. So I started troubleshooting it down. The pressure gauge was rising, telling me that I had air pressure, but still no air was coming out to the hose. So I was able to pull this relief valve here. So if you got that on your air compressor and you weren't aware of what that is, that's the pressure relief valve. So that's a safety device. When the pressure goes to a certain point, whatever the valve is set for, then this will pop and let the air out so that your whole thing doesn't explode if something were to go wrong. That's just a safety device. So you can pull that and let air out, and I did, and so that told me, okay, I've got air at least to there. I know I've got air here because my gauge was climbing. And so the question was, did I have air coming out here? Well, what goes on there is the pressure regulator. It actually sat like that, and then coming out the other side of the regulator, I put a quick connect so that I can just plug my hoses in. So I removed the quick connect just in case somehow this thing was broke, and still no air came out. So basically I was able to narrow it down to the regulator. And no matter whether you tighten it all the way, loosen it all the way, air does not come out of the regulator. It's got a direction here. You can tell the airflow direction. And so if I blow in this hole, no air will come out of this side no matter what I turn the knob. So I was able to determine that this pressure regulator was bad. Now I could probably take it apart. It's got an Allen wrench setting there, and maybe I could take it apart and get inside and fix it. It of course is made in China, so you know, pretty much nowadays they're built to fail. But I just happen to have a regulator. Years ago, I needed a pressure gauge, and it was cheaper to buy the pressure gauge with the regulator at Harbor Freight than it was to just buy a pressure gauge. So I grabbed a couple of these, and one of them I took the pressure gauge off and used it for a different little air compressor that I got, and the other one was just in the package. And I thought, man, if I could find that, I could use it. Well, I found it, and it's still, you know, in the package. Now if you look at the color of the package, you can tell it's old. It's been in there a while. It's kind of yellowing, you know, but should be a good regulator. It basically looks the same as the one that I took off, and if you read the instructions on the back, it says replaces output air pressure regulator on most brands of portable air compressors. So I figure made in China, probably made in China, so ought to be a great fit. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this regulator on this air compressor, and then put my quick connect back on, and it should be fixed just like that. So let me get to it. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I want to put a little bit of Teflon tape on this fitting, just so that it doesn't leak. It's a good thing to do with whether it's air or water or whatever. You know, put a little bit of Teflon tape on your fitting so that you get a good seal. Because the last thing you want is your air compressor to be leaking air all the time. Then it's got to run more. So I just put a little Teflon tape on there. I gotta get this other one out. Of course, you want to look, there's an arrow that tells you which way the airflow is. So the arrow's pointing that way, so we want to make sure that we put it in the correct orientation. Get it on good and tight. Put our pressure gauge to the top so we can see it. And that's all there is to that. And then we're going to do the same thing and put some Teflon tape on our quick connect for the exact same reason. And I'm going to screw that in. And just like that, I'll get a wrench and tighten that up, but that's pretty much all there is to making that repair. Quick, simple, and now this air compressor will be back to 100% functional and a worthwhile piece of equipment that doesn't need to go in a landfill. As always, folks, we appreciate you watching our videos. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell, share it out with everybody. It's free, and that's how you help our channel. As always, take care, God bless. We'll see you on the next one.